Hello and welcome to Get Real Football Experts. Another schedule rundown for you today, and jumping into the NFC West, wrapping up the NFC. I believe that will do it for NFC, and then we'll dive into the AFC. I'm doing the Cardinals and the Seahawks videos of the West. Louis is doing the 49ers and the Rams. So today, right now, I thought I'd start out with the Seahawks. So how about we dive into it? Week 1 at the Panthers. This is going to be a good game, but I'm going to give it to the Seahawks here. I like Russell Wilson. I think he's going to have a very, very good year this year. A lot better than a better year than last year. Then they have Marshawn Lynch, who should be able to run all over the Panthers here. Week 1, probably over 100 yards rushing this game, and I think the Seahawks defense can easily shut down Stewart and D'Angelo Williams for the run game. They got to contain Cam Newton, but other than that, they don't have too much to worry about. They can get by Luke Kuechly, probably, in my opinion, one of the best middle linebackers in the league. He's going into his second year, so other than that, they really don't have too much to worry about. Should be a pretty easy win for the Seahawks here, starting them out 1-0. Week 2, the 49ers in Seattle. I don't really say too much about home field advantage, but for Seattle, you gotta. They have the best, most loyal fans in the league. Well, maybe not most loyal, but at that stadium, it's got to be so hard to play, and I wouldn't know, but it's just got to be. It's so loud and everything. And on Sunday night, that's just going to be crazy. So that's going to be a very fun game to watch. Very good game. But I got to give it to the Seahawks. If they can stop Colin Kaepernick, this should be an easy win. And both defenses, in my opinion, these are the two best defenses in the league. But I'm going to give the slight edge to the Seahawks here. I think they have a better front seven, which actually it's very hard to decide. Actually, I might have to say the 49ers here, because I'm now really just rethinking that. Nnamdi Asomugha and Carlos Rogers is better, I think, than Clemens and Sherman for the Seahawks. And then their linebackers is amazing with clearly Patrick Willis, Navarro, Bowman, Ahmad Brooks, and Alden Smith, and then Justin Smith on the defensive line. So it's just so hard. Two best defenses in the league. I guess the slight edge there, but the offense really, it's not that big of a question, especially with Michael Crabtree out. It's easily the Seahawks offense, and that's why I'm going to give this win to the Seahawks 1-0. Week 3, the Jaguars. I don't really have to say too much about this game. Seahawks are clearly the better team here. The Jags are a rebuilding team. They're going to have the number 1 pick in the draft next year, so it's not really going to be that much of a game here. Easy win for the Seahawks, starting them out 3-0. Week 4 at the Texans in Houston. I'm gonna give this a loss. I don't know if you listened to my previous schedule rundown on the Cowboys. Probably not if you're not a Cowboys fan, but I mentioned how I'm predicting the Texans to win the Super Bowl this year. They fit that team perfect. They're gonna have a solid regular season like the past 2 Super Bowl winners have, and they're just gonna go dominate in the playoffs. They have such a good team. Matt Schaub's he's not that much worse than Flacco. He's a little worse, but I can still see him winning a Super Bowl because he kind of fits that category. When's the last time the dominant quarterback won? I think it was probably Aaron Rodgers 3 years ago. So they just don't really. I think they have a great D. I think the Texans fit that mold perfectly, and I think that they're going to win this game. The Texans are going to beat the Seahawks, knocking them down to 3-1. Week 5 at the Colts. This is going to be another one here for the Seahawks. I just don't think that the Colts, all they really have is Andrew Luck, and other than him, they don't have too much other stuff to stop him. If they to stop the Seahawks, their defense is too dynamic. They can probably pick off Luck a couple times. You make some risky throws, will probably be better with that this year. But still, I don't see the Colts beating the Seahawks at all. I don't think that's any shot. Then moving on to week 7 or 6. With a 4-1 record, they're going to come in and play the Titans. I'm going to say it's a spoiler here. I'm going to give it to the Texans. If Chris Johnson can get some good runs, I think Locker's going to have an okay. I think this is going to be a big upset in this game. And I'm going to give it to the Texans. Or the Titans, making the Seahawks 4-2. Yeah, week 7 at the Cardinals in Arizona, a division game. I'm gonna give this win here to the Cardinals. It's on Thursday Night Football. I think this is another good game. I like the Cardinals. They have Carson Palmer. That's an upgrade, and they have Larry Fitzgerald, who's a very good, elite, maybe Hall of Fame veteran receiver who's gonna be better this year. I mean, he had just awful quarterbacks last year. John Skelton, Ryan Lindley, and Kevin Cobb. It's hard to go down from there. With Carson Palmer is a huge upgrade. He should be a lot better, probably a 1,000-yard receiver this year. So I'm gonna give this win here to the Cardinals. Oh, not to mention that they have Rashard Mendenhall, who should have a bounce back year at the running game. He's gonna be their #1 guy, no doubt. Week 8 in St. Louis against the Rams. I'm going to give this one a win, even though I do like the Rams. I think they're going to have a better year than they had last year. But I just think the Seahawks team is just too dynamic. They lost Steven Jackson. They have Darrell Richardson now, who looks like he's going to be taking most of the carries there. Even though they do have Isaiah Pete, who's also in a split with him. Even though it looks like Darrell Richardson is going to be the #1 guy there. They drafted him in the first round last year. Or first round, 7th round last year. And it's going to be, he looked pretty good. He showed some signs of greatness last year. Isaiah Pete is actually suspended for the first game for violating substance abuse. I think it was 1. Yes, it was just 1. So, there's been a lot of substance abuse suspensions. Yeah, I didn't say anything about that. So the first 4 games for the Seahawks against the Panthers, 49ers, Jags, and Texans, there will be without Bruce Irving, their first-round pick from last year. So that's going to hit them. Shouldn't hurt them that bad. They have people to come in and replace Irving for the time being, like Cliff Averill, who they drafted, or who they picked up via free agency. So after the Rams win on Monday night, so they'd be 5-3. It's after week 8, going into week 9, the Bucks. I think this is a win. Josh Freeman's an okay quarterback, and he's going to have to perform this year if he doesn't want Mike Glennon, who they drafted in the 3rd round, to come up and take his spot. It's his contract year. They decided to let him play out this year, and then if they want him back, they'll re-sign him. Or if he has a bad year and he disappoints, he could be gone. So that's going to put some pressure on him. But then they also have Doug Martin. It's going to be interesting. I think he can have he's a pretty bit a legitimate suspect to have the sophomore slump that everyone talks about. I think he's still going to be productive. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think I wouldn't be too surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that does happen to him. So I'm going to give this win here to the Seahawks, making them 6-3 after week 9. Week 10, they're at the Falcons in Atlanta. I think this is going to be a loss. It's going to be a good game here. Always is between these two teams. It's a very good offense against a very good defense. Debatably the best defense in the league against debatably the best offense in the league, with Julio Jones and Roddy White, 2 top 10 receivers in the league, maybe even top 5. Nah, that's more of a stretch, but top 8 definitely. It's just going to be tough to stop those two. They're not going to stop them. They're going to have to try to limit them to win this game. And now they got a veteran running back like Steven Jackson, also going to be tough to contain. And Matt Ryan, a great QB. I think he's going to be a rising star. He's going to have a good year this year. So all these factors are going to play in. And I think they're going to help the Falcons to a win here, knocking the Seahawks to 6-4. I mean, if the Saints have a bounce back year and win their division, which is definitely possible, they might be fighting for the Seahawks for that #1 wild card spot if the 49ers win. I don't know about that. I think the 49ers have a good shot at winning the division this year, but I think the Falcons will win their division too. So I don't think, but I definitely see the Saints bouncing back a little bit. I mean, what did they have last year? 15th overall pick they had in the draft, so they did all right. But I can see them being a playoff team again. I mean, the whole bounty thing's done. Everything's back to normal. All the draft picks they lost because of it are done. They got their head coach back. All the suspensions are done. So it's completely done. Unless, I don't know about their GM and stuff. Yeah, I think he's back, but so I'm pretty sure the whole bounty scandal thing is completely over. So, I mean, I can see the Saints having a bounce-back year. So, Week 11, the Vikings against the Seahawks. I'm going to give it to the Seahawks here. they can just stop Peterson, and they're going to be one of the best teams who are going to stop Peterson. If anyone's going to stop him, it's going to be them and the 49ers, because I'm going to say this a lot when I'm talking about these two teams. Their defenses, I like teams like, that's why I love the Seahawks. They can also win the Super Bowl too. It's because they're got a great defense, but then they have that great offense to back it up, and so do the 49ers. Really, I mean, they both have they both run the read option, so two great teams, two great franchises, and that's just on the rise for them. So I'll give that win to the Seahawks, making them 7-4. Week 12 is a bye, and 7-4 at the bye week. So Week 13 against the Saints on Monday Night Football, another win. I just talked a bit about the Saints. They have Darren Sproles, who's going to catch a lot this year. He had 600 yards receiving last year, if I can recall. And Jimmy Graham almost was a 1,000-yard receiver last year, so they have good receivers. They still have Marquise Colston, who's getting a little bit old, but he's still going to be productive this year. And they have Lance Moore, who I think is an underrated receiver, so good receiving core there. And it's hard not to be a good receiver when you got a guy like Drew Brees throwing to you, so like that Saints team, but I just don't think they're going to be able to beat out the Seahawks, making the Seahawks 8-4 going into Week 14. 4 games left in the year at 49ers. A great game. The Seahawks won the first game against them, but I don't think this is going to happen again. I think Colin Kaepernick will be able to bounce back. I like Kaepernick this year as QB for fantasy-wise also. So he's going to have a good year. I think he'll be able to handle it. I don't think any team is going to be able to stop the read option. I said this on our fantasy podcast, or our fantasy episode for quarterbacks. No one's ever going to be able to stop the read option, because here's the thing. When a QB, say Colin Kaepernick, for example, takes the snap and then he fakes it to Gore. So he either, then everyone goes for Gore, but he pulls away, and say to stop him they need a guy there. So say they're playing the Seahawks and you got Cliff Averill coming around. Who's going to win? I mean, Kaepernick's going to make a miss. He's going to outrun him, and he's going to get around him for a 25-yard gain. So it's just, I don't think they're ever going to find a way to limit the read option. Well, they're going to find a way to limit it. I don't think they're ever going to stop it. That's going to make it so dangerous, and that's going to make these mobile quarterbacks a lot more valuable. Except last year, Joe Flacco won. The year before, Eli Manning won. Year before, oh my gosh, Aaron Rodgers won, Drew Brees won one, Peyton Manning won one. So Tom Brady's won. All these pocket passers, traditional quarterbacks are also winning. So any type of quarterback is still good. I mean, the old style is still good. So basically, anyway, it works, I guess, if you got the right scheme. Week 15. Oh yeah, so that's a loss to for the Seahawks, making the 49ers. We're making the Seahawks 8-5 going into Week 15 at the Giants. I think this is going to be a win. This might rely on the Giants here, and I think they're going to crumble in this game. I think the Seahawks defense is going to have a good game, but I think their offense is going to come out flying and can pull this win in, making them 9-5. I think the Seahawks can stop Hakeem Nicks and Victor Cruz. Sherman can take Cruz, and he can shut him down, and then all they got to worry about is Knicks there. So I think that's going to be an interesting game to watch. I'll be watching that one. So Week 16, the Cardinals. I'm going to give another win here to the Seahawks. I had the Cardinals win that game, but this is going to be a very important game for the Seahawks. They're going to know they have to win this, or they might not get in. So I think they can come out and win this one. Russell Wilson's going to do good. I mean, he's only been a rookie, but he has experience in these big games. He has experience in a playoff game. He's got a playoff win under his belt. So Week 17, the Rams, another win. I think they're going to sweep them this year. I like the Rams, like I said, but I don't think they have the talent to beat out the Seahawks in any of the games this year. So final record for the Seahawks, 11-5, maybe a little more. I wouldn't be surprised if they go 12-4, but I don't think anything lower than 11-5. I think that sounds perfect for them. So that's going to do it for this edition of Get Real Football Experts schedule rundown edition. Next I'll be doing the Cardinals. And please follow me on Twitter at Dave Cres Sports for more. Our podcasts are coming once a week pretty much. They are on GetRealFootball.com. On the site you'll see the Football Experts. Click on that. And while you're there, be sure to read all the articles and stuff. And for Bills articles, go to realbillsnow.blogspot.com. That's mine and Brendan Harrington. Blog all about Bills. We got lots of articles going. Just started up, and a weekly podcast every Wednesday. So for now, I will see you next time on the Cardinals video and our recent podcast. See ya.